There's a whole multitude of farms that churn out cider across central New York, but in Baldwinsville, a husband and wife team looked to add their own twist on the classic fall beverage and change the way everyone thinks of cider. At Abbott Farms in Baldwinsville, a whole new beverage is brewing. Since it opened last month, 4 Grand Wine and Cidery has infused locally grown apples into handmade alcoholic beverages. The cidery, formerly known as Four Daughters, is owned by Andrew and Robin Meyer. Andrew got his start in cider in a completely unorthodox way.
I actually went to school to be a pharmacist, and I worked in pharmacy for about 12 years.
But how do you go from the pharmacy to the cider press?
Well, my wife and I were looking for new jobs, and she happened to come to the store thinking about working in the store and overheard them saying, "We need 2 people to make apple cider." And she said, "My husband and I can do that." And then we started the next week.
Now married for 6 years, Robin feels that her chemistry with her husband Andrew makes the cider making process all the more easier.
I trust my husband completely when it comes to matters of chemistry and flavor. Obviously working with sweet cider and with the craft beverage, sanitation and hygiene are super important. And having his background in pharmacy, I'm coming from a geology background with a lot of groundwater quality testing. I know when Andrew and I come up with a plan for making a particular cider, that is going to be a good one.
Well, there's a whole variety of apples that you could eat here at Abbott Farms. However, there is one type of apple that goes into making the best cider. The Meyers believe that the best cider comes from apples that have fallen from the tree. With new technology such as a UV machine that zaps out toxins, the cider is certifiably safe to drink. But with the business only open for a month now, Andrew is already thinking of ways to take his cider to the next level.
We're always looking at new flavors. The farm, in addition to all the apples here, we have about 12 acres of apples, about 9,000 trees, and 21 varieties. But we also have blueberries, raspberries, strawberries, cherries, and plums that we get to play with. And I also want to try making flavors with honey and maple syrup.
But going up against established cideries across central New York is a challenge that the Meyers are ready to handle.
I don't think it's going to be too much of a problem. I think we're generating some good comments, some good feedback now. Where as soon as people know that we're here, we're available, we're open, and we've got a fun variety of beverages to try.
For NCC News, I am Tim Scott. Also looks to sell some more cider during the winter months, so even when you're feeling the winter blues, you could have a nice cup of cider to bring back that fall feeling. Even on a rainy day, one source of culinary sunshine is Cups and Cakes Bakery and Cafe in Liverpool. Open since August, Cups and Cakes is owned by the mother-daughter team of Debbie Russell and Tracy Profiter. Although Cups and Cakes has only been open for 7 months, Debbie always dreamed of owning her own bakery.
It's something that I've always wanted to do for a long time. I mean, if you ask any of my old bosses, they'll say, I've always said I wanted to open up my own bakery.
At the bakery, Debbie does most of the baking while Tracy handles the decorations. As the business gets off the ground, the mother and daughter combo thinks that every day is a new adventure when the two work together.
One day it's great, one day you might end up with a cupcake in your face. No. Like a mother and daughter, it's funny. We work good together, but then we bicker as most mother-daughters do, yeah, because one of us always has to be right.
Nothing like chocolate frosting.
Some days, Debbie comes into the kitchen at 4:30 in the morning and doesn't hang up the apron until 6 at night. But it's her love for baking chocolate cake and other desserts that keeps her on top of her game on a daily basis.
It goes by so quick you don't even realize it's that many hours. I mean, over the weekend with Easter and everything, 2 days was like, I realized I worked 34 hours in 2 days.
Wow.
But it didn't seem it. It just seemed like a regular 8-hour day.
One thing that sets Cups and Cakes apart from other bakeries is that all of its food is nut-free. Since Tracy is allergic to nuts, there is some additional caution that goes into crafting the treats.
Reading labels. Not everyone properly labels stuff, so you really have to read, or you have to call the companies, and even sometimes when you call them, they're like, oh, well, we don't, you have to really know which companies to order from.
Even with some of the challenges that come with opening a small business, Debbie feels that Cups and Cakes allows her to do what she loves best.
To come here and do what I enjoy doing. I'm not going to an office and sitting in front of a computer. I'm doing what I actually enjoy doing.
In addition to serving several kinds of desserts like cakes, cookies, and brownies, Cups and Cakes Bakery and Cafe also has 7 different types of sandwiches on its lunch menu. Reporting from Cups and Cakes Bakery and Cafe in Liverpool, Tim Scott, NCC News. Throughout the nation, fewer and fewer children are attending Catholic schools. According to the National Catholic Education Association, Catholic school enrollment has dropped from 2.5 million to just 1.8 million in a matter of 6 years. Not to mention that over 1,200 Catholic schools have closed since 2006. However, Syracuse's 2 Catholic schools are trying to fight this trend by promoting the lessons of Jesus Christ. At Bishop Grimes High School in East Syracuse, Principal Brian Nolan thinks a Catholic education can guide children down a path of faith.
Students take religion every day for all 6 years that they're here, so we really try to provide students with courses in scripture, theology, social justice, so that they really can learn about Jesus and the Catholic Church.
Nolan thinks that if students keep coming through the doors, Catholic education will still thrive.
Creating that college-going culture where we just don't want students to be satisfied with just graduating. We want them to really pursue that next level, that next step, the next pathway.
Meanwhile, in Western Syracuse, Bishop Ludden has just 310 students. Athletic director and former director of enrollment Gallagher Driscoll thinks that it takes a special kind of student to embrace a Catholic education.
When you recruit kids to come to this building as students and people, they have to understand that we're a Roman Catholic high school. That's our identity. And not everybody has to be Catholic, but they have to understand our values.
Even with the smaller number of students, Bishop Grimes and Bishop Ludden will continue to embody the mission of Catholic education, combining the lessons of Jesus Christ with the values of the community. Reporting from Bishop Grimes High School in East Syracuse, Tim Scott, NCC News.